Well, Venerable Children suggested that we follow up on jealousy. But I think an interesting flip to that is what happens in our mind when we think we're, which is what this verse is about, when we think we're the subject of somebody else's jealousy, or that we are the object of someone else's jealousy. You know, do we acknowledge this and what does it say? Accepting defeat, practice accepting defeat and offering the victory, or do we get angry in return? Who the heck are they? Why are they laying their guilt trip on me? Why are they laying their jealousy trip on me? And do I in fact think that I'm better than them? So, you know, they should get a clue about who they are and not lay their trip on me. Anybody have that feeling? One hand, two hands, three hands, four hands. Okay, thank you. Otherwise, I'll just talk to myself for a while and then we'll Yeah, jealousy is messy either way. And this comparison that we have, I mean, I really think that whoever brought up the point about pride yesterday was right on it, that our sense of self becomes very, very large in both directions, who we think we are in relationship to other people. But the behavior that comes from that then, I mean, the jealousy itself is painful enough, but where it begins to wreak havoc in a community like ours, for example, is when we begin to speak badly about the people that are jealous of us or that we are jealous of, in both directions. I think it's Venerable Children, maybe you already said this story. You did. That why do we do this? Because if we sit together and start bashing other people, together eventually we come out on top. This one's bad, this one's bad, this one's bad, this one's bad. You agree with me? Oh, this one's bad, this one's bad, this one's bad. Secretly, we may also be thinking, you are too, but at least we can talk about it, right? I'm still the top of the heap. This is how our little jealousy and comparing mind conversations happen in our groups. And then the cliques form, and then the little factions happen over here. So you can see how devastating that can be within the sense of community. So what does it mean to offer the victory to them?
For me, when I get involved in that, it means the message I give myself is just drop it. So it's about dropping it and not letting the tentacles of that drag me into an afflicted mind. So
what happens that you can recognize it enough to say drop it?
Oh, it's very painful. Mm-hmm. My mind is disturbed, and my nervous system is turned up to more adrenaline. It's kind of getting into the fight mode or the runaway mode, or So it's all toll in the body and the mind. It's very disturbing, and it disturbs my peace of mind. Yeah. So I don't want to go there.
So in recognizing that, then you can catch yourself.
Yeah.
And say, oh, just drop it.
Yeah, it's very painful.
Yeah.
I couldn't use the rejoicing antidote for this when I first learned this, and so I found something from Nagarjuna, which was be respectfully mindful of others to get rid of jealousy, and it's in the context of being generous. And by doing that, it helped me to look at the other person, and that made it easier to drop things and to give the victory to them, in the sense of, for me, what that part means is recognizing their qualities, or maybe recognizing that this situation is actually, really good for them, and be, I have to drop the anger before I can go to rejoicing. But to drop it and to give the victory, to me, has a lot to do with recognizing that, having respect for the other person, which is why being respectfully mindful helped me move forward when my mind still couldn't get to rejoicing.
Well, it's nice. It was like the advice that Master Huimin gave to us for our Varsa, to respect everyone. And that out of that respect, the jealousy is less likely to arise, because we're actually seeing the person. right? Don't we kind of blank out on the person? It's the thing they have that becomes the object. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that became very strong this past winter and retreat is if somebody has some fortune and some qualities that you don't have, rather than being jealous, what do you think about karma, MK? They have what they have because they've created the causes for it. You don't have the opportunity because you haven't created the causes for it. So it gets me out of one of the habits of mine I've had a lot of my life is that this whole victim thing, that somehow I'm powerless, that the world runs over me and poor me, poor me. But to see how virtue is created due to, I know the causes for virtue. And so to rejoice that they've created the causes for virtue, to have the opportunities and the qualities that they do have, for me to say, if you want those qualities, you know the causes on how to create them. So it really empowers me, and then it gives me an opportunity to let go and then to say, wow, that's a lot of hard work to be able to have what they have, to be able to do what they do and the qualities that they have. And then I can move into rejoice and to say, this is a karmic, a dependent arising here. It's not coming out of nowhere. So empower yourself and rejoice that other people have been able to create the causes for themselves.
So you're not just offering the victory, you're rejoicing in the victory. Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, or celebrating. Celebrating. Somebody else? Yeah.
So one of the things that I think about is how it's the journey that I focus on the journey and how the journey is really a personal growth journey. And that because of that, it makes no sense to compare myself to another person because the other person, as Venerable said, doesn't have the same, they have a different set of circumstances than I do. And so to focus or to judge my experience by somebody else's set of circumstances is crazy making. So I go into evaluating, am I doing the best that I can with the circumstances that I am dealing with? And the answer to that is yes, then I just go back to that. Then okay, so let's be content with what I can do at this moment. And remembering that everything is impermanent. The circumstances will change and I will grow and things will be different. And so it's just finding how that my mind is developing moment to moment.
So that's how you antidote your own jealousy, right?
Yes.
Lamsel?
If I'm on the receiving end, then it's helpful for me to bring to mind situations where I've retaliated in some way and what a mess that has created. And so to remind myself that responding with anger in no way helps, and that the only response that will bring myself or the other person any peace of mind is to respond with kindness. And that helps me diffuse any energy that wants to fight back.
Mm-hmm. Good. Verbal jump up.
I found that for me it's important that I have good relationships. And if there's jealousy in a way that makes it very difficult.
Yes, not you. I'm directing the microphone back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my focus is on developing a good relationship. So and jealousy is in the way of that. Yeah.
So when does this come to your mind?
And different situations. It could be, I don't know, if people are jealous of me and they don't tell me, but when I'm jealous and then it's rather disturbing the relationship. So I find ways then somehow to go from a different angle, such as seeing the kindness of that person in different areas. And so that way I can make a connection that's other-based.
I think about when I think about offering the victory, I think about in the terms of maybe letting the other person have the last word and not caring, or and also about the 4 non-retaliations of not retaliating, not returning anger with anger, not returning violence with violence, not returning harsh speech with harsh speech, and not returning criticism with criticism. And just, I think about how much happier a mind it is that can abide in that way, and how miserable it is to go the other way with all this retaliation. And just seeing, as Venerable Jigme often says, is, do you want to be, tell your mind, do you want to be miserable or do you want to be happy? And it's the same with the other way when you're rejoicing in somebody's, instead of being jealous. Rejoicing means to be joyful in. And if we don't, we're missing an opportunity to be joyful.
Yeah, I think Venerable Tarpa's point, though, is quite well worth remembering, that we can't go from jealousy to rejoicing in like 0 to 60 in a short time. That to get to a neutral mind first, really we have to work on our jealousy first, and then we can move to rejoicing as an antidote. And also to think about antidotes that don't necessarily need to be applied in the moment. Like if we develop a practice of really rejoicing in the fortune of others, rejoicing in the the good qualities of other people, it also makes us a whole lot happier to live with the people that we live with. We appreciate them more. And the jealousy doesn't arise so easily. So it's, I think, very important in looking at all of the thought transformation verses and the antidotes, to not think that we're only supposed to apply them when the affliction is arising or present or flaming, because then it's hard to recognize and it's really hard to apply. And then you can also develop the mind that goes, oh, well, yeah, I tried to love this person I'm so furious at. That doesn't work, forget it. But if I'd spent some time cultivating love over a period of time, then the anger may not arise so easily, or the jealousy may not arise so easily. And when it does, we've already got a mind prepared to antidote it. So that's an important thing to remember. So I just want to read the verse again, because I did it at the beginning. When others out of jealousy mistreat me with abuse, slander, and so on. That's a big assault. Abuse, slander, and so on. I will practice accepting defeat and offering the victory to them. So the code word in your mind, offer the victory. Offer the victory. It's a good way to tip ourselves off. So let's practice together for a greater harmony in the community and greater harmony in the world.